In this video, we're going to take a look at a feature of Word called columns. And I'm not talking about table columns. What I'm talking about is newspaper style columns. So you don't have cells like you would with a table. You just divide your document up into 2 or 3 or more columns. Okay. So this is on the Layout tab, and it's in the Page Setup group under Columns. Okay. And we've got some presets here, and you can just pick one. I'm going to do 2. And it kind of messed up my cover page as well. So it's trying to do 2 columns on my cover page, and this looks really funny. But we're not going to worry about it right now. We will talk about how to fix that later. The rest of my document is 2 columns from beginning to end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom way out here, and I need to check on my View tab here and tell it that I want multiple pages, and then it changes the zoom for me, so I have to go back and shrink it down again. Now I can see the entire document. It looks like I might be able to make that a little bit bigger and still fit everything on the page, and I cannot. So but you can see I've got 2 columns all the way. Again, this is a little funny, but we're not going to worry about it. And the columns are equal all the way down. I'm going to do Control A here to select the entire document, and let's do that again. And I'm going to do a Control J to justify everything. So now I should get some nice smooth columns all the way down, and it makes it a little bit easier to see where the edges of the columns are, especially in the middle. So let's zoom back out again. Let's go to around 100% here. So I'm at 98. Let's do a little bigger than that. We got plenty of room on the screen. Okay, and let's go down here and let's check out some more options. Let's go to our Layout tab and go to Columns. And there's an option called More Columns down here, and that brings up a dialog box, the Columns dialog box. These 5 options are the same that were on the drop down up here, but then we've got some extra things. One of them is we can choose to put a line in between. If I click on OK, now there's a line between column 1 and column 2 all the way down the entire document. Let's go back to the Layout tab again, and let's go to Columns, and let's choose More Columns again. So we looked at line between. There's a little preview here. There's also, you can change the width of the column, but right now the default is equal column width. You know, if I change this from 3 inches to, let's say, 2.5 and hit enter, unfortunately that closed the box for me. Okay, I didn't want that to happen. Let's go back here and go to More Columns again. So if I decrease that by 1/2 inch, then this one also gets decreased by 1/2 inch because they're going to stay the same width. And the extra goes to the spacing in the middle. So instead of having 1/2 inch in the middle, now there's 1.5 inches in the middle. But let's turn equal column width off. Nothing changes here, but I'm going to change my left column here to, I'll make it 4. Okay, so that's 4 inches. It does not mess with the spacing, unfortunately. It just takes space away from this. So I'm going to change this back to 0.5. And then I'm going to tab down here, and it automatically makes this 2. So if you don't want your column widths to be equal, just turn this off. Go up here and manually set the width of column 1, any other columns, and manually set the spacing. We've also got a choice down here that says apply this to the whole document or from this point forward. Okay. I'm going to do the whole document for right now and click on OK. So now my document looks like this. My cover page is still probably going to look kind of messy. Yeah, it does. But like I said, we'll worry about that later. Let's just fix everything right now. Let's go back to our columns, and let's go back to 1 column. And now my entire document is just 1 column again. Now I've got my entire document, including the cover page up here. The cover page looks normal again, all in 1 column, which is the default. So this just looks like an ordinary Word document now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave the cursor right here to the left of my Chapter 1 heading. I'm going to go to Columns. I'm going to choose More Columns. And I'm going to choose 2, but I don't want the whole document. I'm going to choose from this point forward and click on OK. Now if I zoom out, let's zoom way out, and it should remember to show us all the pages. So the first cover page still looks the same, but everything from that point forward is 2 columns with a line between. And let's zoom back in again. So I said everything from this point forward, but not the stuff above it. So if you go back up here, the title page looks fine, but something has been added to the title page, something called a section break, a continuous section break. And section breaks in Word divide your document up into multiple sections. Most of the time, your document is just one section. You don't have to worry about this stuff. But there are a handful of commands in Word that apply to an entire section. And one of those commands is the columns command. So if your document is one section, then if you set columns to 2, every single page in your document will have 2 columns. On the other hand, if you just select part of your document to have 2 columns, which is what I just did, I said just from this point forward, not anything above it, then because it's a section formatting command, it applies to the entire section. And if I don't want it to apply to the first page, then I have to make that a separate section. So what I have now is I have 2 sections. My cover page is section 1. Everything below that is section 2. So let's take a look at something here. Word used to show you the number of the section that you were in down here by default. It doesn't do that anymore, but you can make it show you that. Let's go down here and on our status bar, just right click on the end of the status bar here. And we'll get a list of all the things that we can put on the status bar if we want to. And one of them is the section number. So I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to click off. And now it tells me that I am in section 1 when I'm up here. If I scroll down and click someplace where I've got the 2 columns down here, now it changes and tells me that I'm in section 2. So you can, if you have that turned on, you can easily find out where the section breaks are in your document. Also, if you have on your home tab, if you have your show hide button pushed in, then you'll see things like page breaks and section breaks and so on. And if you want to delete a section break, all you have to do is click to the left of it and hit the delete key. I'm not going to do that right now because that'll mess up my title page again. But it's just like any other character, you can delete it if you want to. That's why I recommend keeping the show hide button pushed in all the time so you can actually see this stuff, and you will understand why your document looks the way that it looks. Let's try one more thing before finishing up this video. I want to scroll down a ways. I'm going to do a page down here. And I'm looking for chapter 2. So there's chapter 2. So let's go to the beginning of chapter 2 here, and let's go to our layout tab again. Go to columns, go to more columns, and what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to set this section equal to 3 columns, but only from this point forward. Okay. So what's above will be 2 columns, and the cover page will be 1 column. So now I'm going to have 3 sections in my document, and I'm going to click on OK here, and a couple of things happened. It put in a continuous section break here. There's another option which will let you put in a section break that goes to a new page. And I can fake that by putting a page break in here. I just did Control Enter. So now I am in section 3. If you look down here, it should say section 3. If you click up here, it should say section 2. And if you go all the way to the top of the document and click up there somewhere, it should tell you that you're in section 1. Now let's, we're going to do a page down a few times till we get to that chapter 2. So now we're going to do something that the first time I did this surprised me. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to delete my section break. I'm just going to the left of it and I'm going to hit the delete key. What I expected would happen the first time I did this was that everything would go to 2 columns, but that's not what happens. Hit the delete key, section break goes away, and everything goes to 3 columns instead of 2. So the formatting from the bottom section gets carried up to the section above, not the other way around. So that's not what I expected. That might not be what you expect, but that's the way that it works in Word. My suspicion is that I know in formatting a paragraph, the formatting information is stored in this paragraph mark right here. And if you delete that paragraph mark, you delete the formatting for that paragraph, and it will take on whatever formatting the paragraph below it has, because now it's part of the paragraph below. And I'm guessing that section breaks work the same way. If you delete the section break, you're deleting the information for that section above it, and so then everything that was below comes back up and is used as formatting for what used to be section 2. There are some other formatting commands that apply just to sections in Word, but those don't have anything to do with columns, so we'll talk about them in another video.